Welcome, everyone, to the How Podcast, where we feature individuals from various backgrounds who have captivating stories to tell. Our goal is to bring people together by sharing diverse perspectives and experiences to inspire positive change in the world. I am your host for today, Nicholas James Barber. Welcome to the show. And for our guest today, it's Jeula Agbayani. She's an advertising producer turned voice actor, a dubber, a dubbing rewriter, and a marketing and voice coach. Her voice on works includes being in the Tagalog dub of Netflix The Monkey King, as well as starring in another Netflix special, NIMONA. As I'm going to butcher this name, Alamzapam Davis. And projects such as Endless Love, The Adam Project, and Finding Ohana, and many, many more. Welcome to the show, Jeula.
Thank you for having me, Nicholas Barber.
Oh yeah, we going by Nicholas now. Just for people who don't know you here stateside or in the Philippines, just give us a brief introduction on who you are and what lights your soul on fire.
Oh, wow. What lights my soul on fire? Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Jeula Agbayani, and I really love my job. I think that's probably what lights my soul on fire the most, just the whole creatives of it. I enjoy being able to be part of something and create something much bigger than myself. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good sum up of what lights me up.
How did we find the voice acting, and how did you gravitate towards it, I guess?
Well, so prior to this whole voice acting journey, I was an advertising producer, right? So I would make like radio commercials, ads, video, online ads and stuff like that. And so with all of those projects, you probably need to use a voice actor once in a while or frequently. And so I was the one who would suggest to the agencies, like, oh, these are the voice actors that you could choose from who I think are a good fit. And they'd pick one. And then I would be the one to go into the studio with them and help them in their delivery of the script and stuff like that. And so at one point, I was like, I wonder if I could do it. And I was talking to my boss about it, and he was like, oh, voice acting is really hard. And I'm like, and I tried it. He put me in the booth, right? And it really is a jarring experience being in a booth, because you have to get used to how quiet it is, and like hearing your voice on the mic is so weird, especially the first time. And he was like, okay, read this script. And I read it, and he was like, you sound so nervous. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry, let me try again. And I tried to sound like happier, and he was like, nope, I can still hear it. And then I realized like how hard it is to like deliver lines. But yeah, so but I got into it because I realized eventually that I don't think being an advertising producer was what I wanted to do. Like, I did the whole, and when you're 40, do you still want to be doing this? And I'm like, not really. And so, I left my job, but I didn't know what I wanted to do next. So I was like, well, maybe I'll take some workshops here and there to do voice acting, and try that for the meantime. But apparently once I did the workshops and stuff, I'm not bad, I guess. So I ended up being like, oh, well, maybe I'll just do this. And like fast forward 5 years later, I'm still here and,
okay,
being in front of the mic. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
I think we're glancing over a whole career's worth of experience here. So just for me and the viewers, actually, how is it like starting out in the industry over there? Like, if someone wanted to be a voice actor, like what are the proper steps or routes to take, I guess?
Gosh, that's a really common question. I always tell everyone, regardless of like what your background is, whether you're, for example, if you have a theater background or an acting background, or you're coming from like no communications background whatsoever, either way, you have to start by training first. Like you gotta go to places like Vocalions or Voice Actors at Home PH, which locally here in the Philippines, they do train people to become voice actors. And you have to do that and see if you're ready before you even like consider taking on clients or auditioning. Because like script reading is an art form that you really have to get used to. It's not something that you just look. Some people are really good at script reading like really fast, right?
Yeah.
But it's not uncommon, even if you're good, that you run into a script that you don't know how to consume, how to like delve into, you know? So and the thing is, like, no matter what kind of voice acting project you get into, there's still an element of time. Like, you need to be able to do or read the script in a certain amount of time. No matter, even if it's advertising, it's dubbing, it's video games, whichever. Like, there's a physical factor. Like, your voice can't actually last, like a whole day of talking. Like, if you know, like, efficiency wise, like, you have to save this, right?
Yeah.
And also, if you want to take on other projects, you have to be able to be efficient with how you read scripts. So anyway, sorry, I'm digressing like everywhere.
No, it makes sense. Yes.
Sorry. Just let me know if I'm like, okay, I'm going off on a tangent. But anyway, but no, training is really the first part. And once you feel like you're a little bit more ready, that's when you can, if you're going for advertising, then that's when you go through like making voice samples. So like, picking a script, and then recording it ideally in a semi good setup. Like I always tell people, just use your closet.
Okay.
It's really, I'm serious. Yeah.
So quick question. A little bit out of left field here. What's the difference between recording in a bathroom than in a closet?
Oh God, stop. All right. You can't record in a bathroom. There's too much reverb. Like, it's like, for people who don't know what reverb is, it's like, I'm not a sound engineer, but it's basically like a lot of echo. It sounds terrible on the mic. Don't do that. It only sounds good if you're singing. You're singing alone in the bathroom, and it's nice because you hear yourself like echoey and stuff, but it's not great for the mic. Don't do that.
All right, there we go.
Do it
guys.
in your closet.
We got professional feedback right here. Closed spaces that can absorb sound, I guess, right?
Yeah, the reason why the closet is good is because there's a lot of clothes, so it tends to absorb sound. So you would put like your mic right in the middle of all those clothes. It tends to create like a semi-quiet, and like it pads the room for you. So yeah.
There we go. Quick tips. There is no cameras involved, so it is only voice. For some people already, like when we kind of go into the nitty-gritty of stuff and we talk about like the path and the skills we gotta learn, sometimes people get intimidated, right? Like they're like, okay, maybe I don't want to be a voice actor. Let's jump back in time a little bit. Me and Jeula actually met in college, and was this something that you knew you wanted to do back in the day?
God, no. I didn't even know it was an option. Like, seriously, I feel like a lot of people, including myself at the time, don't register that when you watch an ad where there's a disembodied voice, that there's actually a person that goes into a booth and does the work of talking. You know what I mean? Like in trailers too, like this year, like all of that. No, you don't register like, oh, there's actually a dude that does that. And so I was kind of mind blown realizing that, oh my God, this could be a career. So it's actually, I think, why like a lot of people, when they realize that it's a viable job or it can be a viable job, they're like, oh, shoot, I want to do that. And I'm like, yeah, see, I know, right? Had I known in college, I wish there was like a course on it or something. I don't know.
I remember back in like 2009, 2008, when you're supposed to look at your colleges, right? You're supposed to look around like, oh, what courses are getting my eye? And I really wanted to go to this computer school. I forgot the name of the college. And people around me were like, Nick, there's no money in technology.
God, fast forward to like a decade.
Yeah, fast forward to be like, okay. But now that, you have, for those people who haven't watched NIMONA or The Monkey King and you want to watch it again in the Tagalog version, please do. You will be seeing our very special guest here with her amazing talent, But before she got there, how was it like for the first few times, like getting into the door and doing your first paid gig? What was the experience like?
Oh gosh, I was so paranoid. Like, I don't remember if it was like my very first recording or client, right? Yeah. Probably one of the first 5, but I remember I had a recording the following day, and the day before I went on like vocal rest. I took like medicine to make sure that I wouldn't get sick. I wasn't even sick. Like I just took it just in case. So I needed money, and I really needed the job. And so like I was drinking tea like with like all the things, all the remedies Yeah, like go through all the lists. It's not even necessary. Like the list is like pick one. I'm like, no, I picked all of them. And I remember I was telling a musician friend of mine that I was doing all of these things, and he was like, wow, you're better than a lead singer for a rock band.
Like for those metal singers.
Yeah, because he's in a metal band, and he was like, wow, you're better than a lot of metal singers out there. And I'm like,
there's a lot of nerves coming in.
Yeah, of course, because like, well, at least from my experience, I was jobless and I was trying to break into an industry, and it wasn't even one of my mentors didn't even like the idea of like completely quitting a job and then starting a career. He's like a big fan of like, no, do your job and then just like try to transition slowly. Yeah, transition slowly and stuff. But I really did not. Well, one, being a producer and trying to be something else is like virtually impossible in my opinion. And two, I just really felt like I needed to go already at that point. Like, no bad blood, just like I needed to do something else like that. Yeah. And so the pressure really was on for me to make money because I was just surviving solely on savings. Granted, I was still living with my parents, so that was, that helped a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not thrown into the landlords like here in America.
Oh, well, now I am because I did move out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but back then I was still living with my parents. So that was a huge help, but I didn't tell them for a while that I had quit. So.
Yes, and then when you got in, like when you were doing the lines, like how did you initially perceive it? Like what was the thought process that you were going through? Did you confidently know you could nail this project in front of you, I guess?
Well, first of all, I started in advertising. Yeah. So the general viewpoint of it is that this piece of material is for selling, right? Yeah. And it's just the how. How are you going to sell it? Are you going to be a friendly person? Are you going to be like a hard sell? So that's already all there. You just have to kind of pick it out. Okay. So I think at the beginning there was a lot of like fake it till you make it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like it's really like you have to fake believe that you've got this. Especially in advertising, and I'm only speaking from like local terms. I don't know in the States or wherever else how it works, but like in advertising, you have 1 hour, 1 hour booked for recording, and you have to be able to know at least like the tonality of the script, the delivery of the script in the first 20 minutes. If you don't have that down in the first 20 minutes, you're kind of in trouble.
Okay.
But you see how like it's fast. You have to be able to pick it up fast. And so there's no room really for me to be nervous. There's no room for me to pep talk myself. No, you have to walk into that booth and you have to be ready. There's no such thing as nervous Jeula. There's just, I'm voice actor Jeula today and I've got it. You hired me. I'm good. Like that. So, for a long
full
time.
Confidence with what you picked too.
Yeah, because you don't want your client to, to
Pick
feel
up
like,
on,
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're paying you, well, at least in advertising, they pay you a lot of money for an hour. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's understandable if like, if you walk in and you're all like, oh shoot, and your client will probably not be happy. I get it. Like, they're going to pay you so much. So.
Oh, that makes so much sense. So it's almost play by play, like getting acting jobs too. Like it's just like what you said. There's this term that has been going around, not specifically here, but like you got to believe your own delusions sometimes.
For sure, like you really gotta sell yourself on the image. Of who you are, even though you're not quite there yet. Like, you have to be like, no, this is me today. It's not true, but it is. Like, It has to be that way for a while. So,
and then, after these first few gigs, when you're like kind of figuring stuff out and like landing on your feet, which we know you did, how did you find to be a voice coach? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, so I think I'd been doing it for about, I want to say 2.5 years maybe. Okay. And I know that's like a relatively short time to transition into voice coach. But the reason is because I have a kind of like a unique background that I came from the other side of the booth, like watching a voice actor, and then I switched
being the voice actor,
being in it. So me, from being the person that did the costing, the negotiations, like talking to the agencies and the clients and stuff, and to suggesting the talents that they could choose from, and then all of a sudden being on the other side, there's actually a wealth of knowledge that I know from the other side that most voice actors are not privy to at all. Like, they don't understand the process in full that happens because they're just in there for like a blip, like an hour, well, maybe a bit more, but yeah. Whereas creating an ad takes weeks, months. So, I think the reason why certain mentors of mine were comfortable naming me as a coach is because I can provide that kind of knowledge to other voice actors, which in turn also made me a lot more comfortable. I'm like, oh, okay, not a lot of people actually know how to negotiate with clients sometimes. Like, what are the various things that you could do in case they ask for a discount and stuff, because that happens, and how do you make a discounted price fair still to you and to your client, stuff like that. So yeah, that's the reason why. It was kind of jarring though. I'd be like, oh, are you sure? Me? Well, are you sure?
But there was like imposter syndrome, kind of.
Kind of, because I was like, huh? I just started. But then I guess at the time, I'd been on a roll for a little bit. And so...
I was going to say, you got the credentials to back it up. You're like, hey, if you want to be where I am.
I guess. But I was just like, okay, I'll try to teach something. I don't know. And like, there's a lot of like, oh my gosh, like, because being a voice actor is like a one person, you're just like one person doing everything, right? You do your accounting, you do your negotiating, you do your finding your clients, blah, 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 blah. You have to be able to know how to manage your business by yourself. And so like, there's a lot of people don't understand that there's an art to making an email, for example. Like an art to replying to your clients, like when and how, and you know, those things. And so those are things I've actually talked about to a lot of voice actors because they're so like nervous about like talking to clients. And I'm like, okay, well, let me help you out.
Is this like when you're coaching your students, you go through all of this as well?
It depends on what they need. Like, because sometimes we do group coaching, sometimes it's one-on-one. And like, I'd actually like have them throw me questions so that I know how to, like, you know, so I know like what they need to know from me. But yeah, there are a lot of times that emailing is a scary thing. And I understand, I get it. Because like with me, when I was in training to be a producer, I was still a production manager and that's just all logistics. But because I was hired inside the company, right? I was an employee. I was privy to all the emails between my boss, who's a producer, and the clients. And so I saw that for like 2 years back and forth. And reading through all of those helped me learn how to communicate much better, like with clients. So, but see, not everybody has that kind of experience. So
it's invaluable. I think like it will jumpstart your career because sometimes when you're just thinking about the skill, it's very different. But if you have like the background of what's going on and why, then I feel like you're just gonna learn. Everything makes sense quicker rather than just it being a skill. So, Jeula, the next question is like suddenly nervous. If anybody is interested in like even just getting information on how to become your student or become, you know, you as their teacher, where can we find that information?
A website called Voice Actors at Home PH. And I am currently a voice coach there, among other voice coaches that they can also choose from. So it's not just me. You can also talk to other people as well. But if it's me, whichever you want, if you're looking for a voice coach, you can book any of us through Voice Actors at Home PH on our website.
There we go, guys. You heard it first. We'll have a link in the video description. And the next question, Jeula, is about your dubbing experience. How, like, I'm sure we've watched so many dubs, right? We've watched Dragon Ball Z dub. We watched these animes, all these shows, all these Netflix shows now we're dubbing. What's the experience like suddenly going into like this show that has been watched by millions of eyes in the original language and suddenly you are up to the plate?
How
does that?
Yeah. That was nerve-wracking. Especially like if I know the material and I'm a big fan of it. And then I suddenly get a role. Yeah, I was so nervous. I remember I think the Adam Project was like the first material where, you know, because it's in English too. And I knew the actors, right? And I was like, oh, I'm going to be the Tagalog voice of Zoe Saldana we? Really? So that it's nerve-wracking. But again, it's one of those things where you step in there, you got to get out of your head. Like you have to leave it behind because you're not going to be able to deliver. But it is such an honor though, being chosen to be, you know, representing this material and helping like communicate this story to people in a different language. It's really, it's an amazing honor in my opinion. So I'm always happy to do that.
Like even when films just have subtitles, it gives accessibility to so many people who would
For
not want to watch it. And even just language, right? Like, some people can't understand English. Some people can't understand the native language. And, giving that ability, you nailed it right on the head. It's something that somebody couldn't have understood before. So I hope you're really proud of yourselves.
Well, I'm happy. I love my job. I love that. It's entertainment that I can help like extend to other people who don't necessarily understand another language. Yeah. So I'm very fortunate, I think.
I have a personal curiosity here, if you could answer for me.
Okay.
Are the lips following yours, or are you trying to make your sounds sound like their lips flapping? Did that question make sense?
Yeah, the mouth flaps.
The mouth flaps.
So we follow the mouth flaps on screen, right?
Okay.
And then, so the script writing is, the script is synced to
the mouth flaps,
like how they're talking and how they open their mouths usually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know, like, how to explain it to some people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, how to sync that all up. I'm like, some people are having a really hard time here.
I gotta say, though, like, among all the voice acting jobs, I feel like dubbing is one of the hardest to learn. Because, in theory, you have to learn it in the booth. Like, it's hard to do it outside the booth. Because like dubbing is like a 3-man job. Like it's the dubber, the engineer, and then the director. There's always 3 people, and like just also by the amount of equipment that you need. So you need the script, you need a mic, and then you need a screen or a TV or something, and you need to be able to read and sync at the same time and act. All of those things. So, yeah, dubbing is like in my opinion, one of the hardest forms of voice acting there is, because of the sheer amount of skill that you have to learn. Yeah. But some people got to do it because other people gotta know the story, man.
Yeah, this is the cost of your butter, guys.
Pretty much, yeah.
With acting, I'm speaking from our field, with acting and just being on set, the creatives, the actor, the director, the DP, they go through this sense of growing along with the project, along with everyone on set. Do you feel like after your project or during your projects, you're growing, you're taking in the character, you're taking in the story? Is there any sense of like personal growth that you feel?
I probably feel that more if I was more of the main characters, I suppose, because if you're a main character, you're pretty much there most of the time on screen do you mean as a dubber, right? Yeah. So as a dubber, but if you're like a side character,
yeah.
I mean, okay, so as a dubber, like, I think if I was a main character, then yeah, there is much that I learn, I think, because you're there for most of the story, so you can follow it. Like, so dubbers we don't get provided the script beforehand, by the way. That's why I'm saying, like when you're in the booth and as a main character, you're there, you understand most of the story because you're mostly there. You see what I mean? Yeah. But if you're a side character, you only get like chunks, right? So yeah, I think that there's a lot of things that you realize about people that's not like you, because you're playing another character. I'm actually dubbing someone who's a very toxic person right now. So that's like an interesting experience, believe me. The amount of emotions that I go through in the booth. And sometimes it tires me out. So it does it does affect me one way or another. So, but in terms of like advertising scripts, or other forms of voice acting, yeah, I think there's always something to take away. Whether it's like a lesson or like being able to understand someone else better. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the best part about being a voice actor. Actually, you get to be someone else. And so you're never just stuck in your perspective, kind of.
Oh, that's around exactly the same thing that excuse me, that got me into theater before, like that idea. So that's interesting.
Right.
It transcends borders, you know. And
for sure,
we gotta talk about this.
What?
About this. Being a Filipino voice actor and being on Netflix, not only once, you know, but on twice.
Yeah.
How is that? Like,
weird. It's weird. No, I don't mean in a bad way. It's like so strange that other people around the world has access to your performance, because Netflix is a global platform. And so like I have relatives in the States who'll be like, oh, we watched it in Tagalog. And I was like, what? Really? Like, you guys actually know the stuff that I do? It's weird. But it's also such a blessing, really, to be, because you know all of these stories, right? All of these movies, series, whatever. All of these are just really amazing stories. And for someone to say, oh, I think you can do this part and fulfill this part in the story well and translate it well. It's a huge responsibility. But it's also like, I keep saying it, but it's just the only word that I can think of, really. It's just an honor, really, to be deemed worthy of these roles. You know what I mean? Especially with like, I work with this one director who's like amazing. His name is Director Rudolph Baldonado. He's also the director of Trece.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, and he gets Netflix projects, and he's like, in my opinion, just one of the best. Talaga, one of the best directors. Very, very meticulous. Like, if he doesn't like your delivery, you have to do it again and again. You know, he's one of those.
He knows what he wants. Yeah.
He knows what he wants, and he knows how to get it out of you, and he's gonna like squeeze you until you give it, because that's what the story deserves, right? And for me to be deemed as worthy in his eyes, for example, to be able to execute the story, I'm always like, I will do my best for you every day, whatever you want, you know? So, yeah, really awesome.
That is, and I think you've, you like it or not, you have been put on a, what do you call that? A spotlight, a podium, if you may, for representation as well, right? Like 10 years ago, who were we seeing, right? Who were we seeing?
Oh God,
characters. JOOLA, who, right? Now you're there.
Oh,
so
man.
everyone, you know, all the viewers who are watching this, who are just looking at the representation that we've been dreaming of, I think, for a long, long time, and you are it in the world of animation. So I just want to like congratulate you and, you know, our viewers.
Thank
as
you.
well. Just take in this moment, and I see nothing but great things for you and your future, you know. So if anyone is looking for a talented voice actor, you know, or actress, we know
right here.
Contact. Right here. She ready.
Right here. I'm over here. I got you.
And now that this, you know, that I'm sure it hasn't settled down yet from what it sounds like. What are your future plans? Like, you've got two in the bag now.
I'm actually trying to get into video games. I think that is one form of voice acting that is so cool. but highly competitive space, but I'm all good with that. Like, I think competitive spaces help people like grow. So, very, very happy to compete with other people who are also amazing. So, and I'm also, I'm still looking, I've been the original voice for like small characters here and there, but I think one of my dreams is to be the original voice of like a character that just changes people's lives. Like, I don't know, man, like a project like Steven Universe or something. Like, okay. I want to be part of that, you know? That I feel like that's one of the goals. Difficult, but worthy, I think. Worthy of pursuit, I suppose. So, yeah, that's what's in my plans. Probably a little far off, but gotta start somewhere.
It's only the beginning, right? As they say.
Definitely only the beginning. Much, much more out there to find.
Yeah, the future is so bright for you. And is there anything that you would like to say to anyone looking into being like a voice actor or looking to do dubbing? Like,
yeah, I would say that if it is something that you're truly passionate about, voice acting or otherwise, that you should at least try it, at least try to pursue it and see where it leads you. I think I'm a fan of like trying what you think interests you. And then at the very least, even if it doesn't pan out, you know that you tried and that's one thing off the list. Because I do feel like life is just a pursuit of finding what it is that is for you. And sometimes there are certain things that you think is for you, but it's not. And then you cross it off the list. And that's not a waste of time. That's you like being true to yourself and honoring yourself and what you feel might be right for you. So whatever it is, voice acting or not, that you feel it will enhance your life, will make you happy, do it. And if it doesn't pan out, that's fine. Go to the next thing. You're just trying to find it, and it's all good, man. Everyone's just trying to find it.
That is, wow, I felt that. Thank you. No. Thank you for those words. Really, something to think about. I'm writing some of those down right now. So if you don't mind.
Oh my goodness, we need to have a conversation. What is this?
No, I just like, because I find that a lot of people are more and more, like in the age of connection, right? Like more and more people are kind of feeling lost. But the good thing about that is like we can create like groups, we can create communities that actually do this, that help people out and they help guide them. If it's just something that they're gonna trip on, at least people were able to give that to an individual from halfway across the world.
Yeah.
I'm speaking as a millennial who didn't grow up with internet, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, like snail mail.
I get you.
Snail mail before, and people...
Snail mail.
Yeah, people really couldn't like test their waters, and then that's where kind of like that rigidity in some people's lives
for sure.
So, you know, the internet is a tool, is at the end of the day, and it's how we use it. Like YouTube can be a big distraction, or it can be a university.
Or a big help.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. There's at least like the element of research that you can do, like on the surface level, if you even want to pursue something or not. So, yeah, no, I get you. I totally get you.
Okay, Jeula, we have reached the end of our show, but before we go, I know we've spoken about voice acting and all of this, but you are more than that. You are a human being. You're a wonderful human being, actually, and a lot of people in your communities look up to you, in your friend groups and the people outside of that. You have the mic right now. Anything you want to share for our viewers?
Oh, anything I want to share? What do I want to say to the world? You put me on the spot.
Always.
Oh, God. Okay. What do I want to say? I guess most of what I really want to tell people, and I think what people need to hear a lot these days is it's going to be okay. You're doing just fine. Even if you're feeling a little lost, it's okay. A lot of people who have found their calling or whatever it is that they're trying to find, they start out as lost. So you're almost there. You just keep going.
That is so wonderful to hear. Thank you, Jeula, for your time. And thank you, everyone, for sticking to another episode of The Howl. And we'll catch you on the next episode. See you guys later.